From the bursts of laughter that filled living rooms in 2001, The Bernie Mac Show quickly became more than just a sitcom. It became a cultural landmark. But behind the jokes and the perfectly timed punchlines were real lives shaped by struggle, heartbreak, sacrifice, and silent battles no camera ever captured. Some stars fought depression, some survived career-ending setbacks, and others quietly rebuilt themselves, rising stronger and wiser than anyone expected. More than 2 decades have passed. The world has changed. Hollywood has changed. And the people who once made us laugh every week have lived through journeys far more dramatic than anything written in a script. So today, we're opening the curtain on the truth behind the fame and honoring the legacies they left behind. Before we dive in, tell us, which Bernie Mac Show cast member do you remember most? And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful then and now stories. Bernie Mac, the giant who laughed through the pain. Bernie Mac as Bernie McCullough. Behind the booming laugh and the fearless comedy, Bernie Mac carried a lifetime of scars no audience ever saw. Born Bernard Jeffrey McCullough in the poverty-stricken South Side of Chicago, he grew up surrounded by violence, loss, and the constant weight of responsibility. By his late teens, he had already buried his mother, his brother, and his father, grief that shaped both his humor and his drive. When the Bernie Mac Show debuted, the world saw a legendary comedian at the height of his power. But away from the spotlight, Bernie's marriage to his loyal wife Rhonda was straining under the pressure of fame, endless travel, and his declining health. Sarcoidosis attacked his lungs, stealing his breath, his sleep, and eventually his strength, yet he refused to slow down. He filmed the show, Ocean's 11, and multiple stand-up tours while hiding hospital stays and unbearable pain. On August 9, 2008, Bernie Mac passed away at just 50 years old after complications from pneumonia. At the time of his death, he left behind an estimated net worth of $15 million, but his true legacy was far greater. A man who made millions laugh while quietly fighting battles of his own. Kelida Smith, the Hollywood powerhouse, they tried to push aside. Kelida Smith lit up the screen as Wanda McCullough, sharp, confident, and unapologetically strong. Yet behind the scenes, the industry didn't know what to do with a black woman who didn't fit their narrow boxes. She faced typecasting, backhanded comments, and even lost a major role on the Jamie Foxx show, simply because she was too assertive. In Hollywood, confidence is applauded, until it comes from a woman like her. As work slowed, she felt the weight of loneliness. Single, childless, and constantly working, Kelida slipped into depression in the mid-2000s, later admitting that the fear of being forgotten haunted her. Therapy and cosmetic procedures helped her regain control. Slowly, she rebuilt her identity through Z Nation and In the Cut, showing Hollywood she wasn't going anywhere. Today, Kelida runs a fashion brand, appears at mental health charity events, and lives life with a calm independence. Debate question: is Hollywood harsher on outspoken black actresses? Or is the industry simply terrified of women who refuse to stay silent? Naya Rivera, the brilliant flame that burned too fast. Naya Rivera stole the spotlight even in her short time on The Bernie Mac Show, but her rise through Glee made her a global icon. Behind the radiance, life had never been gentle with her. Thrust into acting at 4 to help her divorced parents, she grew up carrying responsibilities far heavier than a child should bear. Fame only intensified the pressure. Conflicts on set, media scrutiny, and a turbulent marriage with Ryan Dorsey pushed her into depression, an eating disorder, and chronic anemia. Yet she kept fighting. She wrote a book, took daring film roles, and tried to rebuild herself piece by piece. But loneliness is a quiet storm, and Naya lived through it alone. Her final act in 2020, saving her son at Lake Peru before drowning, revealed a truth her critics never saw. She was a warrior, even at the end. Debate question. Did fame shape her downfall, or was she battling emotional wounds that Hollywood never bothered to understand? Camille Winbush, the child star, who refused to break Camille Winbush's fierce portrayal of Vanessa Tompkins, made her one of the brightest young stars of early 2000s television. But when the cameras stopped rolling, Hollywood turned its back. At just 16, Camille found herself labeled washed up, a brutal stamp that crushed many child actors before her. Anxiety, self-doubt, and the fear of disappearing from public memory haunted her for years. She took roles where she could, such as in The Secret Life of the American Teenager, but fame never reached its former peak. Off-screen, she attempted a fresh start with her ice cream shop, Baked Ice, winning Teenpreneur of the Year, until COVID-19 forced it to close. Still, Camille didn't crumble. She reinvented herself again, launching a lingerie brand and working quietly on independent projects. Now 35, she chooses peace over spotlight, a rare, courageous decision. Viewer question. Should child actors be protected from the trauma of early fame, or is the entertainment world simply too ruthless to ever change? Jeremy Suarez, the prodigy Hollywood, let slip away. Jeremy Suarez was unforgettable as Jordan Tompkins, shy, quirky, and full of heart. His early career was golden. Jerry Maguire, The Bernie Mac Show, and the beloved voice of Coda in Brother Bear, earning him award nominations. But as he transitioned into adulthood, Hollywood's doors slowly began to close. Roles dried up, auditions went nowhere, endorsements vanished. The silence was devastating. Jeremy spiraled into depression, grappling with an identity built on a career that suddenly disappeared. To survive, he worked manual labor jobs, furnace operator, mechanical technician, a humbling contrast to his childhood fame. But he never fully walked away. Jeremy eventually returned to small voice roles, married quietly in 2017, and now teaches acting to children, helping them navigate the very industry that once rejected him. He lives simply, away from pressure, appreciating a peace fame never gave him. Debate angle. Did Hollywood fail Jeremy? Or is this the predictable fate of most child stars once they outgrow the cute phase? Dee Davis, the baby girl who found happiness. Far from Hollywood. Dee Davis melted hearts as Brianna Baby Girl Tompkins, but fame arrived too early and felt more like a burden than a blessing. When the Bernie Mac show ended, she was just 11 and already exhausted by the demands of a public life. She quietly walked away from acting to focus on school, hoping to reclaim a childhood she had skipped. But stepping out of the spotlight came with a price. Hollywood forgot her. When she tried returning years later, casting directors didn't recognize the once famous baby girl. Life took a new direction. Dee became a young mother of 2, facing criticism for her age but remaining strong for her children. She now shares parts of her life on social media, maintaining a small, supportive community. Today, she lives a peaceful life in Illinois, choosing love and stability over fame. Viewer question. Should society judge young mothers or admire their strength in choosing family over the public's expectations? Reginald Ballard, the comedian who turned hardship into laughter. Reginald Ballard's portrayal of WB was joyful, loud, and unforgettable. But his road to that laughter was paved with struggle. Once a standout college football player with a full scholarship, his athletic dreams collapsed after injury and team sanctions. With nothing left, he moved to Los Angeles pursuing acting, and spent nights sleeping on friends' couches while scraping by. His early career was unstable. Small roles here and there, long nights performing stand-up for gas money, and constant financial stress while raising 2 children. But Reginald refused to quit. He learned to transform hardship into humor, pain into punchlines. After the Bernie Mac show, he leaned fully into stand-up comedy, touring the country and building a loyal audience. He remains humble, grounded, and deeply connected to Bernie Mac's legacy, often attending tribute events. Today, Reginald continues performing nationwide, living with his family in Pasadena. Debate question: does his journey prove that persistence outweighs opportunity, or does it highlight how little Hollywood invests in comedic talent? Lombardo Boyar, the soldier who refused to be stereotyped. Lombardo Boyar brought Chewy to life with warmth, humor, and an authenticity that made audiences instantly adore him. But long before Hollywood, Lombardo served as a forward observer in the U.S. Army's elite 82nd Airborne Division, a job that demanded precision, courage, and the ability to stay calm when everything around you exploded. That discipline carried him into acting, but he soon discovered that Hollywood wasn't always ready to embrace a Mexican-American performer outside of stereotypes: gang member, sidekick, comic relief. Lombardo saw those roles over and over and rejected them. Instead, he turned to voice acting, where talent mattered more than appearance. His voice powered Rocket Power, Happy Feet, and most memorably, Coco, allowing him to build a steady career while staying close to his family. Still, the schedules were brutal, and years of constant travel made him feel like a stranger in his own home. Eventually, Lombardo shifted toward animation work full-time, a decision that restored his work-life balance. Today, at 52, he collaborates with major studios like Disney and Netflix while raising 2 children with his wife. Debate point: does voice acting give minority performers more freedom, or is it proof that Hollywood still limits who gets to be seen? Michael Ralph, the actor who reinvented himself. When Hollywood wouldn't, Michael Ralph's gentle presence as Kelly made him memorable, even in a small role, but the path leading him there was anything but gentle. Before sitcom fame, he built an impressive film resume with roles in Marked for Death and Malcolm X, yet Hollywood rarely offered leading parts to black actors of his generation. For years, Michael lived in the shadows of the industry, bouncing between guest appearances on Martin, Moshe, and the Parkers. As the phone stopped ringing, the silence became suffocating. He considered quitting, wondering whether Hollywood would ever acknowledge actors who didn't fit the industry's narrow mold. But instead of folding, he reinvented himself. Michael turned toward teaching, screenwriting, and voice work, finding purpose outside the spotlight. His performances in Happy Feet 2 and Frozen 2 quietly reminded audiences of his range, even if fame wasn't his main destination anymore. Today, at 62, he lives a peaceful, private life in California, guiding young performers and speaking about black representation in the media. Viewer question: should Hollywood be held accountable for wasting the talents of seasoned black actors? Or is reinvention simply part of an artist's journey? Wade Williams, the villain, Hollywood couldn't break. Wade Williams brought depth and tension as Father Cronin, but millions know him better as the terrifying Officer Bellick in Prison Break. Ironically, playing villains nearly destroyed him. Before television fame, Wade spent years mastering the stage on Broadway in productions like Les Miserables and Ragtime. But when Hollywood finally embraced him, it was almost always as the bad guy. The roles paid well, but the emotional cost was heavy. Wade admitted that constantly channeling cruelty and aggression seeped into his personal life, making him feel like he was dragging darkness home. At one point, the pressure led to severe stress and a temporary break from acting altogether. To regain balance, he moved into voice work and lighter roles on shows like The Blacklist and Westworld. There, he rediscovered joy in the craft without sacrificing his mental well-being. Now at 64, Wade teaches acting, raises his daughter, and works steadily, but on his own terms. Debate angle. Does Hollywood's obsession with typecasting talented actors as villains create long-term psychological harm, or is it simply the price of mastering a memorable role? 20 years have passed since the Bernie Mac show first made us laugh, but its impact still hits just as deeply. Behind every joke, every heartwarming moment, and every chaotic family scene were real people fighting real battles, trauma, loss, reinvention, and the quiet courage to start over when life broke them down. Their journeys remind us that fame never protects anyone from pain, and strength often grows in silence, far away from the spotlight. If there's one lesson this cast leaves behind, it's this: what matters isn't how loud the world applauds you, but how bravely you keep going when no one's watching. Now we want to hear from you. Which cast member's story moved you the most? Tell us in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more powerful then and now stories where the truth behind the fame finally comes to light.